Everett stood drenched in the grand hall of the Royal Academy, her books ruined at her feet. Around her, the children of dukes, marquises, and counts laughed. But among all the watching faces, the one that hurt the most belonged to the man she was supposed to marry.
Morning sunlight spilled through Ashbourne Manor as Lady Everett Ashbourne stood before her mirror. Her maid, Clara, fastened a plain brown dress. "Nothing too beautiful," said Baroness Eleanor Ashbourne. "Lord Julian dislikes women who draw attention." "Yes, mother." Baron Ashbourne entered. "Remember what is expected of you." Everett knew the rules by heart. Do not contradict Julian. Do not outshine him. Do not draw attention to yourself. And do not display talents that might make him uncomfortable. Our family's future depends on this marriage. The Ashbournes were among the kingdom's wealthiest families. Their businesses rivaled the fortunes of counts and marquises, but wealth could not erase rank. Everett was still a baron's daughter. Julian Everhart was the heir to a powerful marquis. His family had status. Hers had money. It was why the Everharts had accepted the engagement. Everett answered questions incorrectly, lost competitions she could have won, and wore plain clothes. The Everharts wanted a submissive wife for Julian, and her parents had taught her to become one. At the academy, whispers followed her. Imagine being a baron's daughter and marrying Lord Julian. Someone struck her shoulder. Her books scattered. "Oh, forgive me," Lady Celeste Rowan said sweetly. As a count's daughter, Celeste outranked Everett and believed herself more suitable for the future Marquis Everhart. "I don't understand what Julian sees in you," Celeste said. Julian watched but did not help. "Everett, stop making a spectacle of yourself. You're embarrassing me." Everett swallowed her anger. "I'm sorry." Julian walked away beside Celeste. In class, Everett immediately knew the answer to an advanced magical theorem. Her hand almost rose. Then she remembered her father's warning. "Do not outshine him." She lowered it. Julian gave an incomplete answer. "Very close," the professor said. The class applauded. Everett remained silent. After lessons, Everett stepped into the corridor. A bucket tipped above her. Freezing water crashed over her head. Laughter erupted as her books fell. Everett gathered her ruined books, water dripping from her hair. She did not cry. What she did not know was that the Ashbourne carriage had arrived early. Inside sat Baron and Baroness Ashbourne. They saw their daughter soaked and humiliated. They saw students mocking her birth and saw Julian turn away. Most painfully, they saw Everett apologize as though the cruelty done to her were her fault. The carriage ride home was silent. Everett sat opposite her parents in her wet dress. "I apologize for causing trouble," she said. Her father stared at her. For years, he had believed this marriage would give the Ashbournes the noble standing their fortune could not buy. Now, Baron Ashbourne wondered what that ambition had cost his daughter, and whether the engagement he had fought so hard to preserve was destroying her.
The silence inside Ashbourne Manor was heavier than usual. Baron and Baroness Ashbourne sat in the study while Clara stood before them. "Tell us the truth," the Baron said. "How long has this been happening?" Clara hesitated. "For years, my lord." The Baroness went pale. Clara told them everything, the insults about Everett's rank, the books knocked from her hands, the ruined dresses, the cruel jokes. Students mocked her for being a baron's daughter who had somehow secured an engagement to the heir of a marquis. "And Lord Julian?" the Baron asked. Clara lowered her eyes. He knew. The word struck harder than either parent expected. He never defended her. "Sometimes, lady." Everett apologized to him afterward because the bullying had embarrassed him. The Baroness covered her mouth. "Why did she never tell us?" "Because she believed enduring it was her duty." Clara's voice trembled. "You told her this engagement would secure the Ashbourne family's future. She thought losing herself was the price she had to pay." Neither parent could answer. "We did this to her," the Baroness whispered. The Baron stared at the floor. I thought I was protecting her future. Then end the engagement, Clara said. His expression hardened with helplessness. If only it were that simple. The Everharts were a powerful Marquis family. The Ashbournes possessed enormous wealth, but wealth was not rank. Breaking an engagement with a superior noble house without sufficient cause could destroy their standing and invite retaliation. We cannot dissolve it ourselves, the Baron said bitterly. Not without risking everything. Upstairs, Everett heard none of their conversation. She waited until the estate had fallen asleep before leaving her room with a candle. At the end of the oldest corridor stood a forgotten stone wall. Everett pressed her palm against a nearly invisible symbol. The wall opened. Beyond it was a place no one in House Ashbourne knew existed. Everett had discovered it as a child. A hidden space stretched beneath the estate. Shelves filled with ancient, high-tier spellbooks lined its walls. Magical tools rested inside glass cases, their purpose still unknown to her. At its center stood a vast circular arena. This was where the real Everett existed. She opened an ancient spellbook. At Academy. Everett pretended to struggle with basic magic here. She practiced spells most students would not attempt for years. She raised one hand, a complex magical circle appeared beneath her feet. One circle became 3, then 5. Power surged through the arena as light filled the chamber. Most students her age struggled to maintain a single advanced spell. Everett could weave several together. She released the magic, breathing heavily as silence returned. No one knew. Everett closed the spellbook and looked around the hidden arena. In this secret place where no one could see her, Everett grew stronger. The Royal Academy was unusually chaotic that morning. His Highness has arrived. Students crowded the entrance as a black carriage bearing the royal crest stopped. Before the Academy, Prince Altier, second Prince of Etheirys, had finally returned. He was the second son of King Nemrod and Queen Gaia. His mother had been born a princess of Valaris, a military kingdom famous for its magical knights. Altier had spent several years there studying combat and military tactics, causing his late entry into the Royal Academy of Etheirys. The moment Altier entered the classroom, everyone stared. He was tall and striking, with tousled black hair, sharp features, and piercing violet eyes inherited from the royal bloodline of Valaris. His composed expression carried the confidence of someone trained among soldiers rather than sheltered nobles. Students immediately surrounded him. Your Highness, you may sit beside me. My family would be honored to host you. My father knows the commander of. Altier resisted the urge to sigh. He had survived military training in Valoris. Surely he could survive this. His eyes searched the classroom until they stopped on one person. A black-haired girl sat alone beside an empty chair, quietly reading. She had not approached him. She had not even looked up. Perfect. Altier walked through the crowd and sat beside her. The room fell silent. Everett finally looked up. Your Highness. She gave a respectful nod, then returned to her book. Altier blinked. That was all? For the first time that morning, he smiled. Whispers immediately spread. Why would His Highness sit beside her? She's only a baron's daughter. One girl laughed. Perhaps he doesn't know who she is. Your Highness, another student said, you should be careful. Lady Everett is not exactly known for being talented. Altier leaned back in his chair. How fortunate. The student stared. I was worried I had accidentally sat beside someone whose greatest talent was talking when no one asked. Several students quickly looked away. Everett turned toward him, surprised. Altier smiled innocently. Since your Highness has only recently returned to Etheirys, you will need someone to show you around, the professor said. Immediately, several hands rose. Altier looked at them with visible dread. Then he glanced beside him. I would prefer Lady Everett. The room became silent again. Me? Everett asked. You seem unlikely to turn a simple tour into a marriage proposal. A few students coughed awkwardly. The professor hid a smile. Very well. Lady Everett, you will give His Highness a tour after lessons. Everett lowered her head. As you wish. Altair watched her return to her book. Unlike everyone else, she wanted nothing from him. No favor, no status, no attention. For that reason alone, Prince Altair found Lady Everett Ashbourne far more interesting than anyone else in the room. When the final bell rang, Everett gathered her books. Your Highness, shall we begin? Prince Altair smiled. You make a simple tour sound like a punishment. I was assigned a task, and you intend to finish it as quickly as possible? Yes, said Everett. Altair chuckled and followed her. Everett showed him the Academy's library, lecture halls, training grounds, and magical laboratories. She explained each place clearly. Though Altair noticed, she spoke with surprising confidence. They stopped before a towering statue. The Academy's founder? Altair asked. Archmage Selim, Everett replied. He revolutionized layered spell formation. She continued without thinking. The original design used 7 magical circles instead of the 3 commonly taught. Today, to stabilize mana flow, she suddenly fell silent. Altair smiled. How do you know that? I read it somewhere, of course. Everett narrowed her eyes. You don't believe me, not even a little. She sighed and continued walking. At the training grounds, students practiced basic spells. One student's flame flickered wildly. Everett frowned. His 3rd mana channel is unstable. Moments later, the instructor corrected the student using those exact words. Altair looked at Everett. Another book? Yes, you read very interesting books. She ignored him. In the Academy gardens, several noble students approached. Your Highness, one girl said with a curtsy. Surely Lady Everett has shown you enough. I would be honored to continue the tour. Altair glanced at Everett before smiling politely. No, thank you. The girl's smile faded. Perhaps someone more knowledgeable, Altair interrupted. Can you explain layered spell formation? She hesitated. No. Can you identify unstable mana channels at a glance? Silence. Then I believe my current guide is more than qualified. The students quietly withdrew. Everett looked at him. You didn't have to do that. I know. Then why? Because they interrupted my tour. For the first time, Everett smiled without forcing it. When they reached the Academy gates, she bowed. The tour is over. Your Highness, a shame. You know where everything is now? I do, as Everett turned to leave. Altair called after her. Lady Everett, she looked back. You're very bad at pretending to be ordinary. Her heart skipped. I don't know what you mean. Maybe not, Altair smiled. But I think one day, you'll stop pretending. Everett watched him walk away. She had spent years convincing everyone she was ordinary. Yet, after only a few days, Prince Altair had already begun to see through the mask.